I'm excited about sharing an idea that I hope will be helpful to older people. There's a really frightening thing that happens in your life when you begin to not remember names and facts and places. All of a sudden you think you're losing your mind. Well, you're really not losing your mind. You're losing part of your intellectual content. But your real mind is your experiential mind. All of the events of your life are experiential, and they're stored in a way that you can recall. And so in this period today, I'm wanting to explain about a memory wheel and how I've developed it to at least give me confidence in still remembering, even though my ability to know names and places has diminished. Not long ago, I came up with the idea of how our senses are not really what we think they are. Our senses are really 5 servants that God has given us to maintain our physical life. And so these 5 senses that we have in effect an archive that stores the memory of each of our senses. And so if we touch a hot stove or see the Grand Canyon, it becomes recorded in an archive. All the experiences of our life are recorded. And so when we confront something in our everyday life that causes a memory to be stimulated, then it comes from our archive and comes to our attention, and we use that as an overlay to have a way of evaluating what we're trying to do. There are 2 kinds of memory. You have the intellectual memory, which would be factual content, and that's mostly what you get in school. You get information that you're expected to retain and be able to provide back again on a test. And then you have experiential memory, which would be from coming into a situation, either an idea or a problem, and responding to it, and thereby getting experience that's stored in another part of your memory, which is more of an experiential area. And so my memory is stronger in the experiential area. I can even remember things when I was as young as like 3 years old. One day, my grandmother's cousin gave me an egg to take to the general store and trade for a piece of candy. And so I remember that type event very well. So I've developed a little device that I think would be helpful to other older people, and I'm calling it a memory wheel. And so each 5 years of my life, I have separated into the content, or put the content of that period on what I call a memory wheel. And so if you imagine the center of the wheel being the most significant thing for that 5-year period, and then the spokes being the related people and places of that period of your life, and the perimeter of the wheel being kind of the economic circumstances of that period. So for example, if you were to take, I was born in 1930, so if you took 1935 for my first memory wheel, then the center of it would be the little town where we live called Old Jefferson. It was a little community in Tennessee about 25 miles from Nashville. And so Old Jefferson would be the center of the wheel, and then the population of Old Jefferson, the immediate population, would be the spokes of the wheel. And the fact that it was a depression and hard times and people were struggling is kind of the perimeter of the event. And so for 1935 and that period of the depression, all of these stories are available to me by putting that wheel together. And so each person would take, I would have basically 16 wheels in my lifespan. Each person would basically take each 5 years of their life when they begin to hit 60 and build a wheel of their own events, so that as they begin to have trouble remembering dates and facts and figures, they would have this wealth of personal experiential memory to draw from. And so you basically, when you're in a conversation, at least you have something to share from whatever period of your life, or whether you're talking about the Depression or World War II or the boom time of the 50s or the crazy times of the hippies in the 60s or the 70s, and each period of your life, you've got that memory wheel to draw from, that you don't feel so intimidated when you begin to diminish in your ability to recall facts and figures. And hopefully this would be helpful to any person 60 or older that's beginning to be concerned about their memory. We wish you well, and God bless you.